Thank you for joining us for our first webinar of 2025. And we have Karthik Kannan, Karthik Manhaven, and myself today with a very special guest. Some of you might already know Hope Paulus, who's an AT specialist. And she can introduce herself shortly, but she used to work at Aira. So you might know her from there, but she's been an active member of our beta tester community with Ally and is soon to become an Envision glasses customer too. So we're super excited to have Hope with us, and Karthik's going to have a little chat with her. After that, I've got some updates for you on events, all kinds of events, whether those are in-person events that we're coming to in the US, as well as our next webinar in February, which is going to be very special and very romantic, apparently. But before we start onto that, we're also, don't forget, we're going under the hood. Karthik Kannan, our CTO, is joining us today, all the way from India. And he is there, but he's with us in person today, and he's going to get us up to speed on all things Envision product-wise, our glasses, Ally, of course, and everything in between. And then we turn the floor over to you for your questions and answers. So, Karthik, if you can take me just to the next slide, yeah, for our housekeeping, because some of that's relevant to our Q&As, of course. So without any further delay, I'm going to ask Karthik and Hope to take it away. Thanks, everybody, and I'll be back shortly.
Yeah, thanks, Vanessa. Hi, Hope. I'm super honored to be doing this part of your session with you. So yeah, I think we've sort of seen you at a lot of these webinars, so good to have you on as a guest. How about you quickly go and introduce yourself to the audience here who don't know you as of yet?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. And I have attended many webinars, so I'm happy to be a guest. My name is Hope. I'm from Maine. I'm from Mount Desert Island off the coast of Maine, and currently work at Massachusetts Commission for the Blind in Boston, Massachusetts, as an assistive technology specialist. But you may know me from Aira. I also worked at HumanWare, Vispero, and Apple. So I've worked at a variety of different places. I am a TVI, teacher of the blind and visually impaired, and I have a CADIS certification, Certified Assistive Technology Instructional Specialist certification for the blind and visually impaired. And that's why I was asked to speak today about how I received my CADIS.
Interesting. So I think what would be interesting for our audience to sort of understand is maybe a bit about your journey. Like how did you start getting interested in assistive technology in the first place, and how did you sort of choose to pursue the path of becoming an AT specialist?
Absolutely. So I am totally blind from birth. I have retinopathy of prematurity. So I've been using technology since I was like 9 or 10. And the Lions Club in Maine purchased I'm going to date myself here, a Braille and Speak 640, my 6th grade year of school. And they purchased a Braille embosser and a computer so that I could receive my material in the appropriate format. And that's really when I became interested in technology. I had an assistive technology specialist who was also blind, who just retired from the VA. And she worked with me on all kinds of things, typing and using the screen reader and things like that. And that's when I became interested. I graduated high school and then went to college. My dad actually attended college with me and acted as my reader and tutor. And I can give you a link Vanessa, I guess it would be, about a blog that I wrote that you could feel free to share with the community as well, just if they're interested in my journey. Um, and then after that, I got my master's in TVI, and then finally got my CADIS. I became interested in technology because while technology is not necessarily a panacea, it's not a end all be all. It definitely helps us out in many, many ways. Um, and um, I want to be able to, it's one of the reasons that I'm an assistive technology specialist here at the commission, is because I want to be able to provide that to my consumers. I want to be able to provide the technology to my consumers and mitigate the blindness or the vision loss, depending on what they have.
That's interesting. So I think it's safe to assume that you've sort of seen a lot of evolution in assistive technology itself. Starting from like the kind of technology we used to have a decade ago, as compared to this a new age of AI powered tech that we have now. If you were to just sort of like summarize, like what has been like the biggest change you've seen in the kind of technology that we have as of today, especially talking about Ally as this new your AI powered assistant that you can have. Uh, in your opinion, sort of like what is like the biggest difference between what we have now as opposed to the kind of more a legacy assistive technology that you probably started out with?
I would say the biggest difference is the flexibility. So Ally gives us so much power. Um, I use Ally to, read directions, cooking directions. I use it to get bus schedules. I use it to find recipes. I have a friend who I'm currently staying with that eats no dairy. And so if she's looking for a specific recipe with no dairy, I'll ask Ally. The previous technology that I used was extremely useful back in the day. It allowed me to have access to educational materials and things like that. However, it didn't really give me access to all of the things I have. You know, I couldn't look up a recipe on the Braille and speak. Um, I couldn't. I literally could just, do my homework and print it out and hand it to the teacher. Now I could, you know, yeah, this AI technology has opened so many doors.
Yeah, I think sort of one of the interesting stuff, and that sort of like came about is when we sort of put out Ally as this very open-ended tool, and I think one of the use cases that you unlocked was using it to to help you your practice for your exams. I think for us that was pretty sort of like unique, and it sort of gave us confidence that okay, this sort of sort of building an open-ended AI assistant is actually pretty powerful. Can you sort of like walk us through like your journey with Ally, like as you started your beta testing it your first, and at what point did you sort of think of using it as a tool to help you with your exams?
Sure. So, when I first became a beta tester, I'm all things tech, right? So somebody asked me if I wanted to be a beta tester. I'm like, absolutely, I'll try it. We'll see where it goes. I did things like finding recipes and what's in front of me and you know the normal things that people test when beta testing a piece of software. Um, then I realized that, I go on YouTube and I go on the web and say, okay, I want a study guide for my CADIS. Um, there's nothing out there. There's a very brief study guide with the knowledge, the domains, the different sections of the exam that will be covered, but there's nothing really comprehensive. And so I um, asked Ally, I want to I'm taking the CADIS, and I explained what it was, Certified Assistive Technology Instructional Specialist for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And I want to have an interactive session of question and answers to study for this test. And it asked me questions. I told Ella that I wanted to have it ask questions related to all domains. And it did it. And at first it just gave me the questions and gave me multiple choice. And I said, no, I want an interactive scenario, and I want an interactive way to answer the questions. And so it read the question, I answered it, it gave me feedback, and then I asked how I did overall, and it said, I think you'll pass the test. And I did this about, 4 or 5 times during the time that I was studying for the exam. And it randomized the questions, and I never had the same question twice. And I think the CADIS has like 130 something questions. I may be wrong, but it never asked the same question twice. And so to know that I could do something like that is absolutely amazing. Really putting Ally to the test.
Yeah, no, that's incredible, and yeah, like I think these are the kind of of use cases we didn't specifically sort of have in our mind, but we did anticipate that with Ally, it is a tool that people will sort of personalize, and they will use it, like in their own ways for their own and your needs. And I think this was for us like a great example for that. Are there other ways that you currently use Ally in your everyday life? Anything interesting that you think would be interesting for our audience?
Yeah, so I use it to look at bus schedules. So sometimes on the holiday weekends and things like that, I'll go back to Maine. And I go from South Station, which is a bus station in Boston, to a place about an hour and 45 minutes from my house in Maine. And so I will ask Ally to give me the bus schedule. I mean, I pretty much know it, but I want to make sure, I'm on time. What I'd really like to do at some point when the technology is updated and provides more real-time information is to try to use it for guidance. So like I said off in the when I was talking with Vanessa and the Kartiks earlier, is that I have a guide dog, and so I would like to be able to use it to travel in an unknown area with my dog, similar to a GPS. But I haven't ventured out to do that yet.
Interesting, got it. Yeah, and I think these are kind of sort of diverse applications of Ally that we sort of do try to convey, but it's almost very sort of like hard for us to sort of still come up with a good sort of your pitch of Ally. Like when somebody asks us, it's still hard a question because of the fact that it can do so much. So I'm going to pose that a challenge to you, Hope. If
Okay.
somebody comes and asks you to describe Ally to them, what would be the best way you would describe Ally at the moment?
I would say it's like having a friend and an assistant at the same time. So we have as a commission, we have ADA specialists. And they are tasked with many things. They pick up equipment for us. I have several of them that will drive me to different places to see my consumers or clients. And I would consider that Ally an electronic ADA specialist without the driving ability.
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting way to put it. And then I think just you're finally looking ahead, Hope. I think you already mentioned the navigation and the like the guide dog situation. Is there anything else on your wish list? Like, how do you see or you hope Ally would you evolve in the future?
Um, I would like the ability to make her a little bit more personal. Sorry, I'm trying to, if you see me moving, I'm trying to move my guide dog so that she's not she wants to go see her ADA specialist friend. So um I would like to see Ally um be able to provide more guidance, more verbal guidance in terms of like what's around you. I would love to be able to go into a doctor's office and have my Envision glasses and be able to say, okay, help me find the counter or help me find a chair, an empty chair. Same with bus station. So South Station is pretty tricky. Um, I would love to be able to say, okay, find a specific gate or help me find the restroom. Like so that we don't we all have to depend on our non-visual skills, right? Our O&M skills and our guide dog using skills. But it's nice to have that um, assistance with navigation when you don't know where you're going, like when you don't know a specific area or a building, rather than having to use something like Aira all the time. For those people who don't have unlimited access to Aira, it can be pretty expensive. And so we want to make sure that we um, use it when we absolutely need it. And if Ally is, you know, able to assist with decreasing the amount of time that we use Aira. I love Aira interpreters and I use Aira pretty much every day. But again, we want to be able to use the tools that we have in our toolbox. And I think that if Ally could do a little bit um, better job of helping us navigate, that would be great.
Thanks, Hope. I think yeah, we're definitely working in that direction, and yeah, like lots of exciting stuff still to come. And as a beta tester, you will always be the first ones to have access to those things. And I really looking forward to you developing Ally for the future with all of you. And with that, I would like to sort of thank you, Hope, for your time. And I do hope you stick around for a bit for the Q&A section as well, because there might be people in the audience who might have a question or two for you. So would be good to have a chat with you with the Q&A part as well.
Absolutely. I'll stick around. I'll go off on mute and off video until a question is asked, and I'll come back on.
Awesome. Thank you, Hope. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And with that, I would like to pass on the mic to Karthik Kannan, who's going to take us a bit behind the hood and talk to us about what's cooking in Envision.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Hope, and thanks, Karthik. That was super interesting to hear, especially how I'm a fan of how you've always been using the app to push its limits and show us what is possible to do with such an open-ended assistant like Ally. What's really cooking? There are a lot of things cooking right now with Ally. We are working hard on a lot of things, just to break a few things down based on what people have been asking us. So one of the things that we're working on right now is a calendar integration with Ally. So you would be able to go ahead and integrate your calendar with Ally. You'll be able to ask questions of your day, your week. You could go ahead and say, hey, can you tell me what am I doing post lunch next Tuesday? And then Ally would be able to answer those questions for you. We're currently having this in an internal beta, and we're just ironing out some kinks right now, and I'm hoping that you guys can play around with it in the coming week. Apart from that, we're also making sure that the allies that you have created on one platform can be used across the across the web, across iOS, Android, glasses, and so on. This is going to help us make sure that if you are creating an ally or if you're having a conversation, you should be able to access it across different platforms. And that is going to be rolled out to you very soon as well. Apart from that, one of the really interesting things we're working on right now, which I'm very excited for, is being able to import large documents inside Ally and ask questions of it. So these documents could be of, we'd start off with PDF, but you'll be able to soon import a PowerPoint file, a Word doc, and so on. Maybe even someday an Excel sheet, because God knows we all need some Excel, some AI assistance with our Excel sheets as well. And we're going to you're going to be able to bring, these big complex files that might contain graphs, that might contain tables, that might contain images into, Ally, and be able to have a conversation with it. So these are some of the things that we are working on right now as a whole. And I think we also are working on some of the things that Hope already spoke about. We're looking at, in the long term, we're looking at things like, if we can use live video instead of taking explicit pictures in order to be able to give you assistance, such as being, able to guide you as to where an empty chair is or where an empty table is. And so on. So those are some of the things that we'll be doing probably in the long term. As the technology advances, we'll be able to do that. But we've got this and other really exciting updates coming to Ally very soon. And please continue to test out Ally. Please go ahead and install it. If you haven't installed Ally, you should be able to find it quite easily on our website, and then give us feedback. And we'd love to know how to make it better for you. So over to Vanessa.
Cool. Thank you, Karthik. Yep. That's fantastic. I short and to the point. And by the way, that website for Ally is ally.me. That's ALLY.me. Please go and check it out. And if you'd like to be a beta tester or a beta tester, depending which side of the Atlantic you're from, go ahead and fill out the form, and you can choose the platforms you want to test on, whether that's the glasses, PC, mobile, and so on. Cool. Okay, so before we get to the Q&A, we actually swapped the schedule around for those that were paying attention at the beginning. We've got some events coming up, so I just wanted to plug those. Of course, CSUN, what would the year be without it? That's coming up in March. It's a little way away, but we are going to be there. We are going to be partnering with our distributors to have presence on the show floor. So you can, if you're going along, please come by and see our team. We've got quite a gang attending. Karthik Kannan is going to be there, Bob Syrian, Bob Rowan, and Nat, who is working with us as well, and Bagia, and I won't even try and pronounce his last name, but we call him B. Now, B is going to be there talking to institutes about Ally for enterprise. So if you think Ally has some opportunities within organizations, he's the man. But in any case, if you're attending the event, please go and buy and see the team. That would be fantastic. But prior to that, we're actually going to be doing a demo day, a sort of Ally Live, if you will, at the Vista Center in California, more San Francisco base. And we'll be doing that on March the 7th. So that's just the week prior to CSUN, and that's going to be with Karthik and Haven. That, in fact, he's going to be there. And we're going to be showing Ally live. I mean, it is live, right? But if you're in the neighborhood, we'd love you to come along. Now, if you are going to attend these events, you want to set up a meeting with us, the best thing to do at the moment is send an email to our support@letsenvision.com. Yes, our support team do everything. But seriously, they will make sure the right person gets it. But keep tuned, because we will be promoting to our channels and in our communities for that. The next thing I wanted to just give the heads up for is on the next slide, and that is for our February webinar. 'Tis the season for love and ally, apparently. So updates and more powerful stories. In fact, we have some beautiful stories to share around Ally. We also have some other exciting news that I really can't say at the moment, but we're hoping that we can announce in February. And that's at the same time. So I got corrected on the time zone, time change for this webinar. So I'm hoping these are correct of 6 p.m. European, 5 UK, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 9 Pacific. If you want to keep up to date with the webinars, we do one email a month in our newsletter. You can sign up for a newsletter on our website at letsenvision.com, or just again check in on any of our community channels or our social media channels as well. And all of that is up on our website, and you can easily have access to them. So lots of things going on in real life and online. And with that, I am going to pass back to Karthik as we do our Q&As. Thank you.
Awesome. Then thanks everyone. That was great. A lot of exciting stuff happening, a lot of events coming up. So really looking forward to being back there on the road and interacting with all of you in a real life outside of these computer screens as well. But for now, let's stick to the computer screens and let's open up the question and answers. We have a question from Kelly, who is asking us, is Ally available in languages other than English? If so, how is that accessed? So like Kelly, you can actually talk to Ally in a lot of languages, about 50 odd languages at the moment. So all the major languages of the world. As of now, the way it works is you can just simply ask a question in a language that you want the answer back in, and Ally automatically detects what language that you are speaking, and then it replies back to you in that language, right? So if you ask a question in French, it will reply to you in French. If you ask a question in Japanese, it will reply back in Japanese. But we have an update that is coming out soon where you can sort of do this with a bit more of control, where you can actually set a language for each of your allies, right? So this is not a language for you, but because of the fact that you can have your multiple allies, you can actually have a language set per each ally that you have. So you can have an ally of yours that only speaks English, but you can have an ally of yours that speaks your French. And like a French ally will always reply to you in French, no matter which language you ask a question in. The English one will always reply in English. There's also an option to have like an automatic language thing as well. So you can always also pick that option if you do want to, if you do want a like a lingual ally. But if you do want your ally to stick to a language, you will have that option coming up on the Envision, on the Ally app in the next update. Cool. Then let's see. Then there is a question from Scott, who asked about the documentation for Ally on glasses. Yes, it should be available on our website already, so you can read the most up-to-date user guide for Envision glasses, and it will have all about Ally. Let me start bringing in some of the people on the panel onto the call. Let me start with Jimmy here. Hey, Jimmy, you can unmute yourself and ask us your question.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Perfect. So I got two, and I'll make them quick. My first one is for Hope. So you used the Ally to study for your CADIS test. I'm taking my Network Plus and Security Plus courses to get my certifications. What do you recommend as far as just different study tips? Because I was a terrible study kid in high school. I only passed because they just wanted to get me out the door. So what do you recommend for someone new to studying and going down that road?
Sure, absolutely. So congrats on getting your certifications. I'm assuming you're due A+. And I would just tell the ally that you're wanting to study for the Network Plus and the other certification you just mentioned, and see if they can assist with that. And Ally can actually offer study tips as well. So ask ally, what types of study tips he or she can offer. I would, in terms of my studying, I would say study about 15 to 30 minutes a day on whatever you're studying. And then, you know, I would study, take lots of notes. They say that writing things down is a good thing because, it requires repetition. But yeah, that's what I can offer.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And for you, one of the whichever Karthik, it doesn't matter. What about as far as being able to sync up Ally on the glasses? Will that be a thing whenever that comes time that we're gonna like have to scan a QR code to do, or how are we gonna actually like make the syncing process happen? What's that look like?
Yes, so we are currently sort of working on that on the back end. We're building this whole authentication thing where you will be able to create like an account on the Ally app. As of now, within the Ally app, there's no account creation thing. But we'll be so that's what the team is currently sort of working on, to have an account that you can create. And once you have an account, then you will be able to simply scan a QR code that's available for your account, and then your account of Ally is going to be synced with the Ally on the glasses, and then all the preferences, all the allies, all the customization and personalization that you have done on your Ally account on the app will automatically be synced with the Ally on the glasses as well. So that's the thing that the team is currently working on.
So what is a realistic time frame for that? And then how are you going to switch between allies? Will that be like a 2-finger single tap and then it brings up that context menu and you can just slide through them, or what's it look like?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So there will be a context like menu, and then you can sort of just and there will be options for some of the settings on the context menu itself that you can you can do. So yeah, that's exactly how it's going to be. I think the timeline is within the next 2 weeks. That's what the team is working on. A lot of the heavy lifting is done. They're just a few more database stuff that we have to figure out before this whole thing can actually be pushed out. So yeah, within the next 2 weeks, the authentication part should be completed and you're pushed to beta.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jimmy. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. More questions. I see a raised hand from Jesse Anderson. Hi, Jesse. You can unmute yourself and ask us your question.
Yeah, hello. Thank you. I've been using Ally a lot lately, both for professional working as an assistive technology specialist and a lot of kind of what I do on the side, both for work and entertainment. And I found it to be really helpful, and I'm looking forward to a lot of what is coming in the near future. So a couple of questions that I would have relating to like upcoming features. A couple things that I think would be really helpful. You talked about long-term having live camera support, and that would be really excellent to be like, oh, I dropped my keys on the floor, and I'm panning my camera around, and it knows to like, oh, I can locate, when it sees my keys, it'll let me know, that kind of a thing. But even whether it's through the web or if there's, let's say, a PC or Mac app eventually, being able to monitor my screen live. So, like, if I'm looking at a presentation or maybe I'm even playing a game or something, and I can be like, hey, let me know when my health is below 50%, or let me know when this icon changes to this color, if I'm working on a project or something. And related to that, the other thing that I think would be really kind of interesting, and I was thinking about, the studying. I didn't even think of that as an option, but that's such a cool idea. But along with the account, I'm wondering if they'll have the option to like, oh, I have an account, and now I can kind of, as I have my allies, they'll kind of have like a history, and like, oh, I know, like the ally would know, oh, well, this ally is my study friend, and I have been studying with them off and on for the past week or so every day, and it knows where I'm doing well, where I'm, where I've struggled, and it can kind of refresh on that. And so I don't have to start from the beginning each time to say, hey, I'm studying for the A+ exam, or I'm studying for whatever, and it could remember. And even maybe having the option to be like, oh, maybe I'm using an ally, and maybe I want to go, and maybe I do just want to have a conversation that is, more private, and then that they'll forget it. Maybe I just have a weird question that I'm curious about, and it doesn't need to necessarily go in my history, kind of like, like your Google incognito mode or something like that. But those two, I think, would be really, really great.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly where our team's headed. I think our head is at also at the moment. I think the video stuff is definitely very interesting because it unlocks a lot of the use cases that you just mentioned. So that's definitely something we are, like constantly, improving on, and you're sort of playing around with. And I think it's inevitable that it will reach that point. Eventually, it might be, let's say your 2 months or your 3 months or like 6 months. But I think that is a point that we will eventually reach. The
Sure.
other thing that you mentioned, I think that's also very interesting, and that's a segment that our team has been working on, and that's like it's like a we're sort of talking about it as thinking about your ability of Ally to be able to store the conversation you have, and then sort of store aspects of those conversation in some sort of like a wiki about you. So what we are thinking of with Ally is that sort of you're offering Ally a long-term and a short-term memory, and like stuff about you that you like want Ally to remember, like for example, that you're studying for an exam, or if you like chocolates. All of those stuff is what it can store in a long-term like memory. And this a long-term memory is nothing but like this internal wiki that Ally will create about you, which has sort of all the information about you that it needs, right? So that's basically what we are working towards, where the information that
Yeah.
has about you is a lot more complex than the two sort of like text field that we currently have. But over time, we'll sort of just sort of to make this detail a wiki about you, which has information about everything that you've spoken with Ally, and it is just something that it updates over time as it has a conversation with you. So that's what we're thinking of with like long-term memory, but we'll also have a short-term memory features as well. But a short-term memory is more like a reminders. So you can be like, hey, I want you to remember that it's like my mom's birthday next week or something like that, right? So those are things that it won't really add to the long-term memory, but it'll just sort of keep it in like short-term to remind you about it next week, for example.
Any
So that's the
idea
kind of
on like when those features might be becoming available? Because like another cool thing that I didn't even expect, but I tried around the holidays was I had asked it, hey, just for fun, let's create a kind of a interactive kind of Dungeon Master D&D campaign. And I actually put a video on my channel where I was like, hey, let's make a fun little Christmas adventure where I'm trying to, rescue the elves and kind of fun thing. And it worked really well. And so to be able to have that history and just continue this sort of kind of fun adventure over several days and stuff would be really neat.
Yeah, no. So the stuff with that we're building with like memory, that's as of now still very a conceptual way to sort of sort of like nail down the right technology for storing and retrieving this information and stuff like that. So all of those are in works, but yeah, like don't have a concrete timeline on it, because we sort of still have a lot of so elements to like to figure out as we implement it. But at least on a conceptual level, we sort of have an understanding of how it should work. And now the AI team is figuring out exactly which tools and which kind of your techniques are we going to use for implementation of that. Once we have a better idea of that, that's when we can have a better idea of how long it'll take for us to build it.
Okay,
But it
thank
is
you.
definitely on the cards, and it's on the horizon. And the other thing that you mentioned is just being able to play games with Ally. That's actually very interesting, and it has been a topic that has been coming up quite often. And what we're doing actually is we're sort of doing this like very small, like a hackathon kind of a thing at the company where we just are you're challenging ourselves to build a lot of these these micro games of Ally within Envision, and we're gonna sort of just do some like play testing ourselves over the next week to see how these are games that we can build within Ally's ecosystem itself are doing. And if they are actually fun, we do want to sort of spend some energy into making some of these games a reality as well, because I think the way we see is that Allies is not just a tool that should be purely be used for like productivity and stuff like that. It should also be like a fun tool that can also be used like to play a game, for example. So that is definitely a thread that we are you're following on, and now that I know that you're interested in playing a D&D, as soon as we have some sort of a play test thing ready to be deployed, I will reach out to you so that you can start I think offering us a lot more feedback on that aspect of it.
Sure. No, thank you very much. That would be really, I would be glad to help however I can, because like right now as a PC game player, what I'll often do is I'll have Be My Eyes for Windows in the background, and then like something will come up like a journal entry or something graphical that's hard for me to read, and I'll have it described to me with that. But if I could just have like Ally running in the background, I'd be like, hey, what is that thing that just popped up say? That would be great. Yep. And I'll be glad to help how I can.
Awesome. Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for your time. All right. Then we have a raised hand from SCKCB, Mickey Queen. Can you unmute yourself and ask us your question?
Yeah. Sorry about the long thing. Basically, I belong to an organization. I do web hosting, and so I had to have they like to see my name in there and their name. So anyway, I am getting a little bit concerned about. I mean, I love that everybody's trying to do this stuff, but I'm seeing that there's a lot of duplicate effort. And I hope that the CEOs or CFOs, I don't care what you call the initials, in the different companies are actually looking at what can we do together. This shouldn't be a greed thing. So what can we do together to like build databases that maybe could be shared by the different people. I don't want to say names because I don't think that's really where I should be, promoting or whatever. But what I'm seeing is we all call. I've been on a few of these different calls, and I could pretty much take one of those calls and put the same questions to the other vendors of these AI technologies, and a lot of the questions are exactly the same. Which tells me, what that's saying is that there's got to be some things that you guys could work on together, so a person doesn't have to develop the whole interface. It's so maybe the interface would know the basics about working on it with an iPhone or working with a deck talk Bose speaker or whatever, so that you don't have to have a massive development team just working on the things that are important to make the things seamless. I don't know what, and that would really be, to me, that's real important. But in terms from your so if you have any quick questions about that, I have one more thing and then I'll get off.
No, sure. I think I agree with you, Mickey. I think I have two thoughts of it. So I think like the way sort of we look at it is that we are sort of developing this ally as a thing, because that's really where our expertise lies in building AI technology, like on different platforms. So the way we are sort of going about it is sort of developing ally as a way that can actually be incorporated on as many different your places as possible. You can think of your different hardwares or sort of your different complementary applications. So we are as of now in talks with a lot of other your assistive technology companies as well, who are sort of keen on integrating Ally as a part of their more of a complementary service that they can offer. So that's definitely the endeavor from our side, is to sort of actually have Ally be as much of a complementary solution as we can actually offer to people. And Ally is sort of also sort of built with that intention, right? Because it's your one of the things that makes Ally unique is that it has ability to access different tools, right? So when you ask it a question,
Yeah.
it like figures out which is the best tool I need to use to answer the question, and then it uses that tool to answer it for you, right? So for example, when you ask Ally what is in front of me, then it knows that, okay, it needs to access your camera, take a picture, and then answer the question. But if you ask Ally, how much is the cappuccino, then it knows, okay, it needs to you access the camera, take a picture, do an OCR on it first, and after that, come back to you with an answer. But for example, if you
Right.
also ask Ally, do I need to take my umbrella with me today? Then it knows, okay, it needs to do like a check with like a weather API, see if it's going to rain, and come back to you with an answer. So that's basically how Ally is built, where all of these are different tools that Ally has access to. And this can actually be extended to your tools that can be by other your third party assistive technology providers as well, right? So for example, if somebody has a navigation a solution, they can still talk to Ally as the interface, and Ally can use that navigation a solution as one of the tools it has access to even answer a question about like navigation, for example. So that's like a really how we see it, is that we can build this interface, and we can sort of build it to be as open and as compatible as possible, and we do our best to integrate with as many other partners as we can. But that being said, I think it's also, I think others will also endeavor to making similar stuff. I think AI assistant is something that we will see a lot of in the future. But I feel that it's not a zero sum game. I think there probably will be a multiple AI assistant that will exist at the same time. I think ultimately they will all converge to like a handful. But until that happens, I think there might be a few more of them that might show up.
What I really like about Ally, sorry about that, is that you can get it into kind of a conversation mode, which is now that's become a little bit more popular, with other people too. But what's neat about that is that you start feeling like you're really actually talking to some not just a stupid piece of computer that's on your desk or whatever, but it's actually a useful tool that's actually doing more than what. I don't know if you remember the old Apple used to have something called Dr. Spazo, and as a kid I used to play with that thing for hours and hours and hours, but there was no benefit to it. It was just fun to play. But so this morning, you guys were, Hope was on today, and I was really interested in the idea that what she brought up was being able to do testing for specific certifications and such.
Mhm.
It would really be a good thing to find some way to capture uh, that well to get to the point where oh, my friend is wanting to study about this such and such, maybe I could share them, share profile information with that other person, so then they could use, maybe Ally could get smarter about, oh, I've done this before, you've asked me this question, or other people have, and here's what I've learned from from day one about this thing. So it could become smarter, working with the the language models and get smarter as it goes, as it goes on. So I really thought that was really neat that Hope was doing something similar that I've been thinking of, that I've been actually doing on my own, just playing around. But I'm finding that there's only so far you can go about with learning, because you don't know, is this thing really going through the effort of understanding what it's talking about, or is it just spitting out information hoping it's going to be correct?
So it's doing a level of it. It's definitely not that high on the reasoning spectrum as it should be, but it's
Yeah.
doing some element of it, right? Because every conversation that it's having, we sort of, do have a feedback, a loop attached to it. So it sort of is understanding whether a conversation is being like helpful or not, and then just improving itself to be more and more helpful over time. So that part is happening, but yeah, it's not as sort of intelligent as understanding automatically that, hey, this is a question that somebody else also has asked me, so I'm gonna immediately use the knowledge of that and improve it in this conversation. It doesn't do it with that much intelligence and with that much of a real-time improvement as of yet. But I think that's probably the kind of things that will happen eventually, that it will have this kind of like a hive mind where based on all of these different conversations, it can improve on certain aspects specifically as well. So as of now, it happens, but yeah, it's just not as high on the reasoning spectrum as it possibly will be in the future.
Yeah, I think we'll get there. There's privacy concerns. How much information can you really save from some session? But overall, if it could just go remembering a topic and knowing, indexes from that topic, and I don't know, I really don't know a lot about doing the programming of it all, but I really appreciate you guys, and I'm keep coming to the meetings, and I really I'm doing beta testing with Ally. I'm now trying to understand how to get the Windows version up and running, and that I've got. So I never can remember the name of the app that you talk to other users with. I've got so many apps on my phone that I'm trying. Yeah, I can never remember the name of the app that
Slack.
that we're using for the beta testers. What's that called?
Slack.
Slack. Yeah. Okay. I'll try to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe putting a couple of more references about that somehow.
Sure.
On the website so people can remember, because I always forget what the heck is the name of that thing.
Sure.
Have Ally tell us once in a while. Oh, by the way, if you're a beta tester, you
Yeah.
do such and such. Anyway.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Thanks, Mickey.
Okay. Well, thank you. Nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah. Same here. Bye-bye. All right. We're approaching the top of the hour, but there are a few more questions. There is a question from Brian, who says, will a DeepSeek help Ally? Yeah, I think a DeepSeek is pretty incredible in the fact that it's open source and it's doing as good as Owen in a lot of the tests. So I think it's overall very, very I think a great for the AI space in a general. And because it's open source, we sort of can deploy our own fine-tune models of itself, right? And I think it's your most helpful for if you want to deploy something for our enterprise customers. So if there is a company that sort of wants their own version of Ally that is specific to their own needs, that something has become a lot more easier with availability of something like a DeepSeek out there that is open source that we can just use very easily. So yeah, it's a good sign for the times to come. John, like a client asked, do you know when the next software update will be available? I'm currently on 2.9.0. I'm assuming, John, you're asking about Envision classes. There is a new update that's currently in the work, so I would assume within the next couple of weeks there should be an update that we should be pushing out on Envision classes. As soon as the update is out, you will receive an email and a push notification about it. So we'll definitely keep you informed as soon as the update is available. Let me see if I can quickly take a couple of more questions. I'm gonna call on Shay Lin onto the panel. Shay, you can unmute yourself and answer your question and ask your question.
Hi, I really enjoyed Ally, but there's a little problem. I live in Albany, California, but Ally always think that I live in Albany, New York. So the weather forecast was always wrong. Do you think it can be fixed? Thank you.
It can be fixed. We are sort of like working on using your allocation for getting the weather instead of you having to talk about which city that you are in. So that is definitely something in the work. So we will have an update where when you ask about the weather, it will it'll ask you for allocation in your permission, and if you do offer allocation or permission to Ally, it will automatically figure out which your city that you're in, and you'll give you the weather of that city. So that is something that will be fixed.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot, Shay. A few questions from YouTube as well. Let me quickly go through them really quickly. There's a question where somebody asks, if Ally is being attested on iOS, is there a difference between like testing on iOS 16 or iOS 18 in terms of app functions? I don't think in terms of functions there is a difference, but there might be a slight performance enhancement if you're on the latest operating system as compared to something that's a 2-year-old. So that's the only difference that you will feel. Like you will still have access to the same functions, but you might you'll find the performance differences might be different between the two. Right. Then, like there was a question from like Deanne who asks, will Ally read sign language? It should be able to at the moment, but because right now it works with discrete images, it won't be able to go ahead and sort of go ahead and describe it entirely. But as we move from this a discrete image based Ally to a more of a video based Ally, then reading something like a sign language becomes a lot more of an interesting reality, because then it can actually you process the video, and if there is somebody who's doing a sign language to Ally, it'll actually be able to detect it. So yeah, technically still a doable now, but it's because it takes a discrete images, it's going to be very hard to get like a full sentence in. But once the video stuff is there, then it's going to be very, very quick and easy and fast. I'm going to bring on the last person to the panel, which is Terry. Hi, Terry, you can unmute yourself and ask us the question.
Thank you very much. I want to know how much limitation is placed on both Ally and general functioning by the limits of the glasses. I use Envision, and I also use other products that use glasses, and I find that other products using newer hardware are a lot faster and seem to have a more snappy response. And I'm wondering about the glasses, and I'm also wondering how long you think it will be approximately when Ally will get its ability to process video. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. I think on Envision glasses, the speed of Ally is comparable with any newer hardware out there as well, because a lot of because there's hardly any processing happening on device. It's mainly happening on the cloud, which is the case with everyone else as well. So it's mainly about how are we sort of processing this stuff on the cloud. And with Ally on the glasses, it has been pretty snappy. There's an update that will be out in the next couple of weeks. I would definitely urge you to give that one a try, and you would find that if it's comparable, if not faster than any other smart glasses based AI that's out there. And in terms of video, it's very hard to put a timeline on that particular thing as of yet, because there is a lot of dependency on sort of of only third-party AI video processing capabilities on that as of now. So that is a area where development is happening, but it's been very inconsistent development. So we are hopeful that it happens sooner than later. So I would, if I really have to speculate, I will say within the next 3 to 6 months is when we can have video processing capabilities. But yeah, there is a lot of external factors that have to be in place for us to be able to do that. Cool. I hope that answered your question. And with that, we are at 10 minutes over the hour. So I do want to take the time to thank all of you who were here and are listening to this webinar. And we will have another one on the 27th of February. And you don't want to miss that one, because there'll be so many great announcements that we will be making on that. I also want to take time to thank Hope. I hope thank you for you're taking the time out of your schedule and being with us on this webinar, and being an amazing your beta tester and a pioneer of Ally. We wish you all the best at your new role, and look forward to interacting with you a lot more on the Slack channel, getting all the beta feedback from you. And with that, I would like to bring this webinar to a close. Everybody, please have a good day and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.